The following content is not intended as a substitute for professional legal advice, medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your attorney, advocate, physician, or other qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding any medical or educational concerns.
Hi, and welcome to the Empower Dyslexia podcast and show. I am Rachel Chambers.
And I'm Stephen Yearout.
And we are here to help you be a better informed partner in education. On this podcast, we'll be discussing dyslexia and related disorders, research, interventions, special education at the special education policy at the state and federal levels, and we'll be interviewing experts in the field. So I'm glad you tuned in.
Make sure that you go ahead right now and like us on Facebook if that's where you're watching, our YouTube channel, subscribe. We're actually live on Twitch today for the first time. So make sure that you write us a review, like us, subscribe.
Smash it.
Smash it.
Awesome. Well, okay, today we have on the show a special guest. Ms. Marcy Eisinger, and she is the Assistant Director of Dyslexia at Garland ISD. So welcome to Empower Dyslexia.
Thank you. So excited to be here.
Awesome.
So can you give us a quick introduction?
Well, I'm Marcy Eisinger. I'm the Assistant Director of Dyslexia in Garland ISD. I just started at the end of last year with Garland, and prior to that worked at Region 10 and have been involved with dyslexia pretty much my whole educational career. I have a huge heart for working with these students and really understand that when you see the potential that these kids have, just what they're able to do, and just to know what power we have in public education to really be able to make that difference for them.
That is awesome.
We are so lucky to have you in Garland.
Thank you.
So what actually brought you to Garland? Like, why did you, what were you doing at Region 10? And which Region 10, for those out there that are not in Texas, is we have educational service centers all around the state. And Marcy was working at Region 10. So what did you do at Region 10, and then what made you change to work at Garland?
Okay, well, at Region 10, I was a dyslexia consultant, so I was able to provide education and support to parents, teachers, and all the district within the Dallas area, really. Okay. And so I was able to really share those resources with these districts to try to help them have a better understanding of dyslexia. And, you know, you're working with both parents and with districts, and it was just, it was a really great position, and it's needed in the state. But coming to Garland was a huge opportunity. And to see that Garland was taking a progressive look at dyslexia now, just the opportunity to come in and have that hands-on approach, working with teachers and administrators and working with a district that is taking a progressive approach.
I love it.
And a clear-cut focus. Yeah.
I love it. And also, happy Valentine's Day today.
Yes.
Today is Valentine's. So we're loving Garland right now, and so that's why we chose to have Garland on today, because it's Valentine's Day. So we love what they're doing. So, okay, so that's why you moved to Garland, and
well, so what was the catalyst for change in Garland?
Well,
I tell you what, let's do this.
Okay.
Ziggy, can you play that video?
All right.
Yeah.
Good evening, President Glick, Board, Dr. Lopez. My name is Stephen Yearout. I have 3 children in the district. I went to Garland schools, Parkcrest, Sam Houston, and Garland High School. I'm dyslexic. 2 of my kids are dyslexic. When I came here in 1982, we moved back here, there was no program in Garland to support kids that have dyslexia. And now, over 30 plus years later, I come back and I see the lack of support for these kids. Do you know that right now, high school and middle school kids are using a program that's over 30 plus years old? It's a video-based programming. It's not being taught by teachers. And you talk about the numbers. You have less than 1% reporting to PEEMS. Do you know that 20% of the population has dyslexia? 20%. There's reports out there done by the University of Texas at Galveston that shows 48% of Texas inmates have dyslexia. 48%. And we're showing less than 1%. We are under-identifying, underserving, and we're failing our kids that have dyslexia. So the new plan that's put in place or that's being proposed is a must. It's a must that we get that in place and provide for our kids. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So, Stephen, that was a really great testimony.
Well, I mean, that was really the beginning for me of trying to get out there, really making the decision to get out and try to make change.
Mm-hmm. I can tell.
And telling my story, and hopefully that story helps others and helps other districts take a look at what they're doing.
What year was that? What year did you do that?
That was last October, I believe.
So October of 2018? Or no, 17?
Yes.
2017.
I mean, this has been a whirlwind.
Yeah.
So
a year and a half later.
Yeah. So, I asked that kind of the question before, but what does GISD see the catalyst for change?
We have a great superintendent with Dr. Lopez that came on board.
Phenomenal
And
superintendent.
honestly, because we do have a superintendent and the GISD Board of Trustees that recognize this and then decided to allocate those resources to support those dyslexia services.
So he came on right about the same time. Was that
He
right?
came
or
on
before?
he came on in January of, I believe, 2017.
Okay.
Or
So
is it
in
2018, sorry.
2018.
So it was
just a year ago.
It was all right place, right time, right? So we had the perfect storm. We had parents that are coming out and asking for change. We had a superintendent,
Dr.
Lopez, that
wanted change.
stands up for the students
Dyslexics.
and dyslexics, the special ed community. I can't thank him enough. And then we had, the other piece of it was we had a school board that was willing to listen and act, right?
A publicly elected school board.
Right.
Yeah.
We had that they're willing to act and like Marcy said, to allocate that money. Right?
And allocate the resources.
Amazing.
And let me tell you, because the support, yes, we have Dr. Lopez, but it takes the whole district to be on board with this.
Yeah.
And it, like Stephen was saying, it's been a whirlwind. But we have the whole GISD community, Garland USA, right? That's, I'm extremely proud to be a part of a district that is providing that support. And it goes from Dr. Lopez and the Board of Trustees all the way down to the classroom teachers, to the parents, to our community, that's actually providing that support to make this happen. And that's something that I don't see everywhere, and I'm just so proud to be a part of it.
We don't see that everywhere.
Yes.
And that's why we wanted to bring you on the show, because we are excited of the changes that you guys are making.
I mean, as you know, we speak to people in districts all across the country, and we hear some good stories and we hear horrendous stories. And that's why I'm so proud now of Garland ISD and the things that they're doing and standing up for our children that need the help the most, and that can, not only do they need it, but they can thrive and they can become the students that they should be, that everybody knows they can be, right?
Exactly.
And they can make Garland look even better.
Yes.
Because they're getting the help they need.
Their scores will go up.
Yes.
Right.
Why
everything.
wouldn't you? Why wouldn't
Why
you,
wouldn't
right?
you?
Because it does. It has such a huge impact on a district. And when you have that many students, statistically, we know that there are a lot of them out there.
And you have 5,600 students.
56,000.
I mean, 50,
Or a little over
yeah.
56,000.
6,000, right.
56.
Yes.
Hold on, 56,000?
50, yeah.
I missed a zero. Okay,
Yes.
56,000
It's a large
students.
district.
It's a very large district.
We have like, what is it, 74 campuses?
in the district there. That's why I said it's a large district, and to be able to do what we're doing in a district that large,
It's amazing.
yeah, it is amazing.
You're going to change lives.
And we see that
Seriously.
every day. Yeah, you go down to those stories that I hear and the feedback that I get from parents and teachers that are now, just embracing what we do, because you see it every day in a classroom, not only with the curriculum that we use and the therapists that we have providing the intervention, but you see a change and a transformation in these students' lives. Everything completely turned around for
See,
them.
that's so wonderful. It gives me goosebumps. It
Yes.
really does. I'm just got like
So
chills.
can the assistant director of dyslexia?
Yes.
Now, what do you do?
That's a brand new position in Garland, correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
This was a newly created position in Garland, and so I'm over pretty much everything dyslexia, and it doesn't matter special ed, 504, it is dyslexia, right? So anything that is involved with dyslexia, I kind of oversee that component of it, but we're able to provide training
Training to teachers?
to teachers, training
Parents?
to campuses, training for parents.
Okay.
We're putting the education out there, and we're
Fabulous.
allocating, yes, the resources that we need, and I'm able to do that.
That's so good.
Yes.
So now when we spoke before, all the changes on the campus. So as of right now, you had said that you wanted to beef up, increase the amount of CALTs, which are certified academic language therapists. So how many language therapists do you have today? And then what is your goal for the next year or two of increasing the amount of?
Yeah, and let me tell you, this is something too that not every school district might do, but we do have, when we talk about CALTs, just the level and what our teachers / therapists are going through.
Can I interrupt you real quick?
Yes.
So we throw around acronyms all the time.
Yes.
Can you give a brief description of what a certified academic language therapist is?
What do they
Yes.
do?
And why that's important that I say we as in Garland ISD have them employed.
Yeah, well, what a CALT is, and you'll hear that, it's a certified academic language therapist. So we provide training for our teachers, and every campus will have a certified academic language therapist. And what that means is, it's not just a workshop. These teachers go through 2 years. It's like getting a master's degree, essentially.
Wow.
So they go through 2 years of school coursework and 700 hours of practicum.
Oh, wow.
So
Yeah,
they're not-
it's totally a master's
They're not getting a
degree.
lunch and learn and away you go.
Exactly. So, and it's
And they have to
ongoing.
get certified through the state
You get-
as well,
and-
right? You have to take a board exam. Of
You
some
have, it's a
sort.
national alliance, they take a national alliance exam.
Okay.
Which gives them then that
Certification.
certification.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, and that's one of the things that I asked for originally was, I want somebody who is certified and properly trained to be giving my child who is
The
dyslexic
instruction.
the intervention that he needs.
Right.
Not that somebody else that's been doing it for 20 years doesn't know as much as a certified academic language therapist, but now since they have that title behind their name and they have had to go do the test,
The rigor of
Right.
getting
So-
trained.
now they're held accountable to a certain level of performance also at that
Correct.
point, right?
Correct.
So, again, we thank y'all for doing that. So, sorry.
Well, and
That's
also when we spoke the other day, you said that you guys are no longer having paraprofessionals teach dyslexic students or
Correct.
something like that.
Yes, we no longer have we had some great paraprofessionals. However,
They're not
we-
CALTs.
They are not CALTs, and they're not the certified teacher. But we, from my understanding, that's what they used to do.
Yeah, I mean,
for certain things. But yeah, we do not
Before you
have,
got there.
yeah, but we do not have paraprofessionals currently that are providing the dyslexia therapy.
I mean,
No.
the paraprofessional that was giving my son his intervention was awesome.
Yeah.
I really liked her. She was very knowledgeable. To me, it was the program that they were using and the fact that, you don't have a certified person that you can truly hold that person accountable.
That has the most knowledge.
That,
to
has the
train
most knowledge to
teach the child the right way to do it.
And it even goes beyond that though, right? So you have to have somebody that is well versed in the curriculum and know how to teach diagnostically, know what
Right.
those components need to be and how it needs to be taught. But they are also the bridge and that advocate for those students
Yeah.
on that campus.
Definitely.
So they're bridging a gap between the core content people, the teachers, and helping them. So like I said, it goes beyond that, and that might not be something a paraprofessional would be able to be
do.
trained to do.
Yeah. And that's not to say that they could go back
back.
to school and
Oh, yeah, and we
Yeah,
encourage
and
that.
I'm sure you
Yes,
do.
yes,
Education
absolutely.
is key to everything, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so-
we said there's 74 campuses currently, right?
Yes.
56,000, a little over 56,000 kids. How many certified academic language therapists do you have currently?
Currently, we have 61, and there's someone at every campus, right? We do have a therapist at every campus at this point in time, but some of them are split. But the goal is to make sure that every campus and every student identified with dyslexia is able to receive the services and done in a way that we know works.
With
So,
fidelity.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And so I was doing the math last night, just really rough estimates. So I'm going to say like there's about 500 students per elementary school, give or take.
Yeah,
50.
and they vary.
And if you take 10% of the population, although we say 1 in 5
Right.
has dyslexia or a related disorder. So if we just take it down to 10%, that would be 50 kids. If you have 1 to 2 CALTs on each campus, that's about 25 to 30 kids a week getting services.
Correct.
Which is a good caseload.
Yes.
It's not too much. It's not, it's just, it's
What
doable.
you can make exactly.
It's doable.
You can do that. And I'm telling you, in Garland, we have campuses that are there.
Yeah.
They're doing a great job. We went it was a whirlwind. We went there fast.
That's
to
awesome.
identify.
And so you're hoping to have about 100 in the next couple of years total per the district.
Well,
And fingers crossed.
well, that's it. The bottom line is we want to make sure that if we're identifying that every student that's identified will be served in a way that it should be with the fidelity, implementing the program. So it just, there's a lot that goes into that, and I don't
sure.
make, those types of calls.
Right.
But just to say that, yes, we are going to make sure that
You're continuing to
providing
grow the
those.
program.
Exactly. We will continue to grow. And eventually we will be at a place that we are able to, maintain what we're doing and just continue to make it even better.
Yeah.
So in the video that we watched where I was speaking to the board, when I first started looking into all the numbers, Garland was sitting at a whopping less than 1% identified. That just blew my mind.
Yes.
Right. And really the success story here, which is amazing, which I'll let you speak to, where I think it was like 394, 95, whatever it was.
300 something, yeah.
Yeah. Abysmal, right?
Right.
So where are you now?
Right now, we're over 2,000 students, and you have to think that number continues to grow every day.
Don't you have a slide that you got?
I did. I shared the one slide
Ziggy,
that
there it
board
is.
received.
Oh, very good.
Yes. Yeah, so you can see back when y'all first started, there were 323. You were less than 1%. We were less than 1% at the
It says
time.
0.07%.
Right.
Wow.
And that's where we started.
And
And
at that point, I believe the total enrollment was 58,799 kids. That number is
Jesus.
ingrained because I
Yes.
said it so many times.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Ziggy, can you put that up for just a second again? Sorry.
Yeah.
So, look at that projected by 2020. is, was that 4,400?
480.
Yeah.
So where
So
are you?
almost
said you're-
4,500.
You're over 2,000 currently, right?
Right.
So you're blowing these projections out of the water already.
We're pretty, yeah, we are
Y'all
doing.
moving fast.
And I'm telling you, I think a lot of that has to do with, like I said, the educational piece, because campuses are getting out there, teachers are recognizing it. So we're getting a lot of referrals, parents, because we do our parent workshops and we have our parent resource group, and we can talk about that too. But we have all these educational pieces that are going out, so kids are being referred. And we have House Bill 1886. You know,
So tell us about that real quick, if you can.
I will. House Bill 1886 is, well, that came out, and so what it is it
It
requires.
came out last session, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Back in September, but they did give us more parameters because now we have a new state dyslexia handbook.
Right.
And so now we're screening students in kindergarten and first grade. Last year, we screened at the end of the year. That's when districts were, you know, we needed to do that at the end of the year. And then this year, we are actually finishing up our first grade screener that we did in January. So that early intervention piece, I mean, this is something that's required of all districts.
Yes.
So the fact that we're catching them early when they should, you know, that's the best time to get them. If we
Yes.
the earlier, the better. It doesn't mean that we're not going to serve our students K through 12,
Well-
but that House bill really kind of puts it on the district to make sure that we are looking for those students
Child
actively.
find.
Yes.
Child find, and then you find them early. Their educational gap has not gotten humongous by kindergarten or first grade, and you can help them. And then they close that gap as they're getting the intervention, and then majority of the time they're just rocking and rolling.
Well,
you know,
historically,
after that.
and for people that don't know, historically, the schools and the school districts said we don't test until third grade.
Right,
Yeah.
when there's an obvious
Right,
problem,
you can see these
and they
kids.
hate going to school.
Yeah, you can see
and they're
the struggle,
crying,
right? You can see it at such an early age.
and they think they're stupid.
And
Yeah.
if you're
Sorry, I could
waiting
go
till
on and on.
third
Yes.
grade, if you're waiting till third
Sorry.
grade, it is the gap is so far, and
Yeah.
the damage that's already been done to that child,
Like emotionally.
it's almost you almost can't overcome it, right?
It's very hard.
It's very, but if you
You
get,
can. You
well,
can,
no,
but
what I'm
it's-
saying is,
But you're uphill. You're doing an
almost
uphill
can't-
battle by
yes.
then.
What I'm saying is, you almost can't overcome it if you don't have the right intervention, the right support system for that child, right?
Correct, and that's a key to it there. If you catch them early and you're able to do that intervention early on, yes, the more the gap grows, it seems like you have students, it has a huge, it takes a toll on their self-esteem, and they believe they can't do it. Like you said, they think they're stupid.
They're flunking.
They're
the
and so
grade
now you have to change that mindset, and you have to change their heart to get them to
Open up.
believe in it, to open up, to trust,
Yes.
because they've been beat down, because they know something's not right. But just to know that that can be done, and that's, you know, and it might be the LPC and me doing the talking, but there's a huge social emotional impact with our kids.
And we talked about that with Nancy
Last
about
week.
about
And
dealing with
it
the
is.
emotional
Yes.
first, and making
get
sure
them.
that child is in a safe place.
Yes.
He trusts the therapist that's working with him. Therefore, that child will start performing.
Yes.
Yeah, and I hear comments all the time, and I hear that because when our students go into that dyslexia class and they're getting that intervention from that therapist, the fact that that's their favorite class of the day, that's where they do feel safe.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and so I think that's a testament not only to our therapists that are working with our students, but the fact that that's where they're gaining a lot of their self-esteem, and that translates into content, and that's what we want to see. Yeah.
Okay, I want to just make this one little plug because, guys, Garland ISD put in $3 million to this program. That's
To
not
start.
a little chunk.
To
I mean,
start.
that's a big chunk of change to allocate towards dyslexia. And that's why they're having so much. Not that you have to put a ton of money into something to make it work, but it sure does help, you know,
And let
get
me
the
t-
ball rolling.
And I so appreciate that. I know our families appreciate that. I know our students. I mean, I understand what that means. And I'm telling you, without having the support of everyone on board with that, I mean, it's just it's a blessing.
It
to
truly
be,
is.
to be involved with that and to have that type of support and proactive approach.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
So to kind of recap, that $3 million paid for new headcount, right? 61 or 60.
They hired the new teachers.
Academic language therapists, training, obviously the materials for the programs that they put in place.
The interventions.
Can you speak a little bit about the outreach that Garland is doing to the community?
Oh.
It's been phenomenal.
Yeah, and this is so exciting, right? So we have done a lot this year in terms of special events, workshops. We have a Dyslexia Informer newsletter that goes out every month.
I saw that, and I was like, what?
Yes.
That's awesome.
And we also have our hashtag GISD Twitter account that we're putting things out. We have the Experienced Dyslexia Simulation, and we do that. In Garland, actually, our bilingual team has created a bilingual Experienced Dyslexia type of event. It's not Experienced Dyslexia, but it is a simulation for those families too. So we've put outreach there. We have a parent resource group that parents can come, we can share stories, we talk about things, I get feedback from them, and that helps us to make it grow. So there's really a collaborative effort that's going into what we're doing in Garland. It's not just me, or it's not just one person, it is all of us in a collective whole.
Would you say it's partnering in education?
Well, how about that?
How about
Yes.
that?
Yeah, we're here to make sure that you're better informed and being being the best partner in education for your child's life, right? On the dyslexia experience, I went to one of them. I took my wife and drugged my kids. They were kicking and screaming, I don't want to go do this, whatever. So I think I'm going to be, I'm like, I'm going to show my wife what it's like to be dyslexic, whatever, And we go into this, the first little simulation, literally 5 minutes in there, I was about to pull my hair out. I was like, it brought back so many memories. I wanted to run.
Yeah.
I mean, that fight or flight kicked in. I was like, I got to get out of here. What am I doing?
Right.
Right. And I didn't think that it was going to affect me at all. But it did.
I would love to have someone on the show to maybe try to do that on the show. I don't know if it's possible.
Powerful.
Yeah,
And
it
you know,
really is.
And there was 200 or 300 people at that event. I was blown away.
Yes,
That's good.
we had over 200
That's a
people
great-
at that event, and we've done the big picture, which is a movie. So we've also done that, and then we have different workshops that we have for the district people, and a lot of our campuses have done the Experienced Dyslexia as well, and I think that that's had a huge impact.
Understanding
Well, I gotta-
what's going on.
I got to tell you, I was at an event and I had a teacher come up and we were talking about all the training and the experienced dyslexia and stuff like that they're getting. And I just made this comment. I said, so it makes you look at these children differently, don't you? Doesn't it?
Yeah.
Bawling. Tears. I had no idea that I was going to get that type of reaction from her. But they were like, I think of all the kids that I might have missed.
Education is key.
And we've talked about this before. These teachers want the best for these kids. They want to teach them. They want to do the right thing.
Yes.
And if they're not taught what to look for, what signs are out there, right? They can completely miss these kids. And I could see the agony on her face. I was not angry at the teacher. I was angry that the teacher hadn't got the services a long time ago, right?
Yeah.
The education a long time ago. So one of the things that we want to do is we want to challenge each and every district that's out there. Get your teachers this training. Make sure that you're going out there and you're going to every campus that you have in your ISD and train your teachers on signs, things that they can do to support these children in the classroom. These kids need the support, and your teachers need to know how to support them properly.
Well, and then if there is a problem, if they suspect a problem, then refer them.
Right.
Refer them on. And, what's the word?
Well, dyslexia is not something to be ashamed of, right?
No.
Right. Well,
Yes,
there's that, but
no.
it's like, but you know, when these teachers make the referral, don't be scared to make the referral. Like, support the teachers, support the child, and don't retaliate or whatever. And you know, say, oh, she's not going to get a raise this year because she referred 5 dyslexic kids.
No.
That cost the district money. What is she doing? I know.
But
I've heard so
it's-
many stories though.
Yeah.
So it's just, you know, support your teachers. Support your teachers. I love teachers.
Again,
Yes.
we are so thankful for what Garland has decided to do and is doing, and it will continue to do, right?
Correct.
It's I can't say it enough, right?
So Marcy, tell
Yes.
us about the mentoring program that y'all are going to do, and also something about a summer camp.
Oh, yes, we do. We offer a dyslexia summer camp. We want to make sure that those students that are identified aren't going to be losing any of that they've learned throughout the year. And we want to keep maintaining that, and we want to provide it in an environment that's fun and that they want to come to. So we do offer a summer camp free of charge for our students that are identified. And that's held in the summer for 3 weeks.
For 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
Do they go
and-
all 3 weeks, or
They
is
can
it
go
just
all 3 weeks.
Okay, okay.
Yes.
Cool.
And we have a morning session and an afternoon session. And then we're going to have some of our older students also participate in doing that and working with our younger ones.
So
And-
mentoring the
Yes.
younger ones, saying you're going to make it. You're
Yes.
going to
Well,
do
it's-
it.
And I mean, just the way that the little ones light up when they see those older kids.
Yeah.
And older kids, I mean, they get a feeling of giving back too. I mean, it's a win-win.
It is a
for all
win-win.
of our kids.
That's
Right.
good.
Yeah.
That's really good.
So, what are y'all doing for the twice exceptional kids that are out there?
And let me
Well,
tell you.
explain what it is
Well, yeah,
first.
Our twice exceptional students, and that's something honestly that is always difficult, but what we're doing in Garland is we want to make sure that we are identifying those students, because these are the students that will often get missed, their abilities mask their disabilities, and we want to make sure that they are able to access material just like any other student, and just because they may be performing okay doesn't mean that they do not need an intervention and support. So we need to make sure that we're looking at identifying those twice exceptional students and providing them the intervention, you know.
And accommodations.
And accommodations, because, and that's one thing, and that's an educational piece too. Just because a student's doing okay doesn't mean that it doesn't take them twice or 3 times as long to do an assignment as their peer.
Right. They're working overtime.
And that they still should be able to do, I mean, they still
They're
have
capable.
They're capable, and
So-
it doesn't prevent them from being in AP courses or going to
Good.
college. They should we want to encourage that of those
Yeah.
students.
So when
and
we say-
have the support.
So when we say
Okay.
twice exceptional,
Yes.
can you tell our viewers what twice exceptional means?
It means that, for example, they would have a disability, in this case dyslexia, but they're also gifted. And a lot of times that presents in different ways for individual students. So we want to make sure that we are identifying those and that we recognize those students, because they're easy to miss. And it's just a fact that a lot of times they'll fly under the radar,
Right.
and then they get identified later on, like in middle school.
So you have this student who's an AB student
Right.
that you look at, and 50,000 foot view or 10,000 foot view, he looks like a
Perfectly.
perfectly fine average
Average.
student, AB, but the struggle is still there.
Right.
And if you give them that intervention and those accommodations and the help, they're going to go from being an AB student to a high A student. They're going to be your, like you said, the gifted and talented. So
Right.
you can be in gifted and talented programs
Exactly.
Most definitely.
and be dyslexic.
Absolutely. And a lot of
Let me say
some of
that
our
again
kids
for the cheap seats. You can be in gifted and talented program in your AP classes and all your honors classes and have dyslexia and get your accommodations in all of those.
Absolutely. And we need to make sure that we're looking at that and considering that when we're looking at our students. And you said a lot of times they mask that, and sometimes when they get in those older, they're able to compensate a lot of times so well. And then when they get up to that higher level academic language, sometimes that's when the rubber hits the road and somebody
Hit
might
that
say,
brick wall.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so, then the fact is it's never too late. We need to identify them. They've compensated so
For
well,
so
but
long,
what does
yeah.
that student need
Yeah.
And what can we do to support them?
So let me ask you this. What I had a parent contact me after a show, and she was wanting to know what kind of accommodations. She was about to attend a 504 meeting, and she wanted to know, like, what kind of accommodations. I was like, I don't know your kid, but let's talk about. So could you answer, like, what kind of accommodations? Like, give examples.
Most common accommodations.
Yeah, that
you-
some of
We
our
do.
dyslexic and ADHD kids, need
Absolutely.
or receive.
And I will tell you one thing that you see, and yes, there are common accommodations that are used, for example, oral test, to have things read to them. Access to audiobooks. We have Learning Ally in Garland, and we sign our kids up for that, so they need to have access to those things. But I think that we really need to be aware and not just say it's a one size fits all. It is
It depends
individual.
on the child, yes.
Right, but like
And their needs.
right, we talked about the extended time. A lot
Mm-hmm.
of times that's not something you see, and that's why it's so important when you're in those meetings to get input from the teacher, from the parent. The parent's the one that's spending all night doing homework with this
Right.
child, So we want to make sure that you get all that information. Is it extended time, or would we be better off, for example, shortening an assignment so long as you're hitting all the content that you need to hit? So
So that's a great point. I've been in some ARD meetings and 504 meetings helping some parents. And there's a difference between modification
yes,
and accommodations,
yes,
right?
correct.
We're not modifying the information if you're shortening the lesson or shortening the choices.
Correct.
It's still same content. It's still the same TEKS.
Right.
Still same grade level. Although we're shortening the either the assignment or the answer choices or whatever.
Right. Instead of 100 math problems, you might have that
50.
do 50.
Right.
And as long as all the content is represented within those 50, then that's, we do not, we don't necessarily have to, there are some students that will need that modification, whatever, through special education. However, what I'm talking about is the accommodation piece. You are there to, what do they say, level the playing field. So they have equal access to what every other student does. If it takes a student twice as long to do something as an average student, then
Because
you
they
need
have
to-
slow processing.
Exactly.
Or whatever the
Exactly.
case may be.
Whatever right.
So we have extra time, we have oral administration, we have note-taking assistants, whether it's they get copies of teachers' notes or they have, somebody that's helping them take notes. We have extra time on not only tests, homework, the assessment tests.
Test, yes.
Map testing.
That brings up a great point.
Yes.
So a lot of districts nationwide, they use a assessment tool. It's called MAP, M-A-P, measuring of academic
I have no idea.
performance, something like that, right?
Yeah.
One of those acronyms.
Right.
Yes.
So
Okay.
can we receive accommodations? Can this child receive accommodations while using or doing the MAP testing?
Yes, and I think there's a lot of confusion out there in a lot of areas when it comes to that. Absolutely, they receive accommodations. If it's written in their plan, then yes, they would receive that on
all
a MAP
tests,
test.
right?
And it's not just a test. It doesn't mean that you just get an accommodation for a test. You get that throughout the year in the classroom if that's what your
Yeah.
accommodation says.
Okay. So
And-
all year long, they get
Well,
accommodations.
if you get oral administration in the classroom and you don't get it on a test, well, now you're not really
Testing.
seeing what that child's ability is,
Right.
right?
You're testing the
It's not-
disability and not the child.
And that's going to be
Exactly, and that's a great way.
That's going to be skewed because the when you look at the two different grades, so the grades that the child's bringing in on his report card and the assessment test, it's going to be completely different. You're going to go, well, what happened here,
Right.
So make sure that if your district is using MAP, M-A-P,
And it's any test,
right?
right?
Well,
Anything
but
for the most part, MAP or
the STAR test
Star,
here in
yeah.
Texas, we have the STAR test that you have to take, which is the state assessment test. They dictate which accommodations that you can do and how you can provide them for the most part. And
For the most
really
part,
the
they give
only
you rules.
one is they don't allow you to read
the
the passage, but you can read the question, which is completely or whatever.
Right.
But when you start talking about MAP testing, which is the assessment test, make sure if your district's using this, make sure that you're asking, hey, is my child receiving his accommodations for
Because I
these
think
MAP
some
tests?
parents, students,
They don't know.
We're not.
I can tell you for a fact they weren't.
Right.
But it's something that is a must, and you need to make sure that your child's receiving these accommodations. And my kids get so sick and tired of me whenever they come home, and I'm like, hey, how was your day? And they're like, oh, it's great. We tested today, whatever the test was. Did you receive? And my next question always, did you receive your accommodations? Yeah. Or if it's no, I immediately get on the phone. I call the administration. Hey, my child took XYZ and didn't receive his accommodations. You need to reset the test. Yes, sir. And that's all it is.
Well, that's it. And I think it goes back to a communication piece because there's, people don't get into education because they want to do harm
Right.
to children. So that I think that is just a communication piece that you reach out to the teachers, reach out to the administrators, have conversation. Communication is key.
People are gonna make mistakes, right? And as long as we're and I've had this conversation with you many times, right? And I've told you this many times. As long as we're all working towards the same goal and we're moving forward, right? I have no problems. I have no problems allowing you to grow. I have no problems allowing you to make mistakes because we all make mistakes. As long as we correct mistakes and we keep moving forward.
I don't disagree, and that's what it is keeping your eye on the prize, right? We all have the same goal, the same focus, and that's for our kids to be successful, not just in
Keeping your
school,
eye
but
on the
beyond.
prize.
That's
I love it.
So you were talking about having an academic language therapist on every campus. Do we have those on what is it called, the alternative school, where instead of suspending these children, they get sent to another
A different school.
alternative
campus.
yeah.
But and when we have students there, then they do receive their services, and it's critical that we do.
And
there's someone
Garland
that's
is
going there.
currently looking on those campuses to see if there was children that were missed, or we need to be testing.
And we are in constant communication with those different various campuses to make sure that if we see that there's a student identified, that we get somebody out there to make sure that there's a CALT there to provide those services.
Good, because we don't want to forget about those students.
Absolutely not. And then you look at, sometimes when you look at, behaviors, what's the reason for the behavior?
What was that bad behavior about?
Exactly. And
what was the root of that?
Yep, and that's
Was
the
it because you
question.
can't read? Oh, well, let's fix that.
Right. You're acting out when you're being asked to do something you can't do. Well, but you're fine in PE, or you're fine in a math class and having conversations.
Right.
But when you're asked to do a specific task, that's the way some students will compensate.
Well, and our
That's how they deal with
dyslexic,
it.
the statistic for students to drop out, students who have dyslexia and other related disorders to drop out is much higher than your student that doesn't have any disability. So, we need to find them and help them and hope that they don't drop out.
So-
Decrease our dropout rate.
Right.
Absolutely.
That's a goal. That should be a goal.
And it is one of our goals. Yeah, that
Good.
is absolutely a part of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the experienced dyslexia events that Garland puts on, y'all have already done what, 2 now?
We did to what? With the experience? Yes.
Experienced dyslexia.
Yeah, and many more if you go over the campuses.
Right. So those
Awesome.
those are we've got a lot of people in our metroplex. Could they attend these events also?
Oh, yes. Anyone can attend any of our events. It's free of
Wow.
charge. It's an educational piece. Of course, it's Garland putting it on. It's Garland ISD, Dyslexia. We're doing this, but it's for anyone. We are putting it out there for anyone who wants to attend, to learn.
So Dallas
That's fine.
ISD, Plano ISD, DeSoto, Duncanville, I'm naming
Mesquite.
all of them, Mesquite, all the surrounding. Y'all go and check out what Garland's
Check out
doing.
what we're doing,
Yeah.
and we would love to have you.
Right. What did I tell you? I said my goal for Garland is that Garland becomes the gold standard
And people will simulate what you do.
for dyslexia intervention services.
Yes.
And I believe that Garland is well on the way to be being the gold standard. And I have to tell you, I'm getting chills, sorry. I have to tell you, thank you so much for what you personally are doing, and Dr. Lopez and the Garland School Board and all of the teachers that are out there that are supporting these kids the way that they need to be supported now. It really does something.
It brings
to
a
me.
lot of hope to my heart, knowing that you guys are taking this program and running with it. It's really nice to see.
And that's
it's
it.
Nice to see.
And we do. We want to be the premier district, and not even just within our little area, but in the country. We want Garland to
Put
be.
Garland on the
What is
map.
it? It's Garland USA. We want us to be.
Okay, this is
that
off
district.
topic.
Yes.
This is off topic. But I used to watch King of the Hill. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but was Garland on King of the Hill?
I believe it was.
Garland.
I don't.
That's what
It
everybody
is.
told me.
I believe
That's what
it
everybody
is.
told me.
Is that it was
Like it was like
set.
somebody was from Garland, and so they made the show look kind of like Garland.
Yeah.
Wow.
Or a neighborhood in
Now I'm going to
Garland.
have to check that out because
I
I was
don't
not
know.
aware.
That could be fact or fiction. I don't know. But maybe someone, if any viewer out there knows, then let us know. Let me know, because I thought it was kind of cool.
So, is there anything else that you would like to share with our audience about what Garland is doing, or
Like I said, keep your eyes posted, and check out our website. If you Google, all you have to do is Google it. Check out Garland ISD Dyslexia, and check out our Twitter. Check out our website page. It's in Garland, and that will also give you some good resources. We have some links there that we want to share. It talks about the CALT. It has our newsletter on there. So I encourage you to check it out. And just with the information that goes out, we will continue to put out different events. And we still have some that are coming up for the rest of the year. Our bilingual simulation's coming up on the 20th. And then we do have another parent resource group. We have another Experienced Dyslexia. We have our Dyslexia summer camp. And we just finished up our New Year's event, which we had several different speakers, one of them being Nancy, who you had on here
Yes.
last week.
Yeah.
And so we want to make sure that we keep putting out there. I like to hear feedback, and I know other people like to hear feedback. So if there's something that you're hearing from being out here of things that we can put out there in information, things that we can do for the community, then I would love to hear that, because we're open to doing that.
Good.
well, you can also check our website at empowerdyslexia.info, and we will have all of your events on our website, also under our event page. So, speaking of events, we're going to go ahead and talk about some of the events that are coming up in our area, or actually across the country.
Yeah, so these are some events that we found. This is Disability Rights Symposium. It's on Monday, February 18th at 7 p.m., hosted by SMU, that's Southern Methodist University Human Rights Program. It's, I think the address is on there. If it's not,
it's at Southern, it's at SMU's Hughes Triggs Ballroom. That is going to be, what did it say? 7 to 8? Yes, it starts at 7.
And they're going to be talking about disability right. You're going to be connected with disability rights activists from across North Texas, and they're going to have a resource fair that'll discuss issues facing the disability community, and what the current advocacy, what they're pushing for change and opportunities to get engaged with people. So I might be there. That sounds like something I would be into.
Dyslexia Day in Oklahoma is
my home state.
Yeah, at the state capitol is going to be February 21st. Make sure that you end up, and it starts at 9 a.m. They're going to be meeting at the Capitals, and Decoding Dyslexia Oklahoma is actually putting this on. You can find them. You can find this information either on our website, or you can go to their Facebook page, Decoding Dyslexia Oklahoma.
So it's on the 4th floor of the Rotunda at the Capitol of Oklahoma, where we just got our dome. We were the only state capitol that didn't have a dome, but for the longest time. And I think we've had a dome for maybe 10 years now. So with a little nice Native American on top. It's very pretty. But anyways, moving on. So the next one, we have Success Conference Go Get It On. That's an odd title.
Yeah.
But it's Saturday, February 23rd from 10 to 2 at the Wiley High School, which is out in Wiley, Texas. And our very own Stephen Yearout will be there speaking to about dyslexia services and how to access them.
This is going to be at Wiley High School. And it starts at 10 a.m. So there's going to be some breakout sessions and stuff like that. And it's being put on by Path, which is it's sponsored or part of Region 10, correct?
I know that they have partnership, but I'm not sure exactly how that works.
Right.
At Region 10. Yeah.
Okay.
So our last one is Stand Up LD is doing a workshop February 23rd, same day, 3 to 6 p.m. At the
Kavanaugh Flight Museum
Kavanaugh Flight
in
Museum.
Addison, Texas. And this is a day of celebration for students with learning differences. Their stand up LD and Speak Out workshop will be led by Eric McGarity, who's a great guy.
He's a
great volunteer, great speaker, and personal friend. So be sure to check that out and take your kids. You know, they'll have a great time. I took my kids last time and they loved it. There was a lot of social, just confidence building, you know.
Right.
So it was good. It was good.
Confidence
So-
and camaraderie.
Yes, there it is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. This is all the time we have today for our show. I hope you've enjoyed it. We end our show every time saying, parents, if you suspect, or teachers even, if you suspect that your child has some type of learning disability, please don't hesitate. Start the referral process, get them tested. You'll be happy that you did. You'll be able to understand what's going on. And so will they. The kids will feel relieved that they can start getting some of this wonderful support that Garland is doing, the type of things that Garland is doing now, right?
The letter is to get the ball rolling. We have a template letter on our website, empowerdyslexia.info. So make sure you go there if you don't know what to tell the school counselor.
Right. So we have a template there.
There's a template. You just fill it out and say there and print it off and then say there you go. Ball's rolling
it's
now.
It's a real simple process.
And there's a couple of templates. You choose which one you want.
Marcy, I want to say thank you again for joining us here on Empower Dyslexia.
We really appreciate it.
And we want to thank you and Garland for empowering our dyslexic students. Thank you so much.
A lot of love going on today.
There is a lot of love, and I appreciate you having me on here to be able to share.
Yeah.
So thank you for what you do.
Continue
for
it.
students. Yes.
Keep going. Keep doing it. It's
Thank
good.
you.
See you next week.
See you
All
next week.
right, bye.